Hello students, this is the section More Graphs for Quantitative Data from the chapter Graphical Summaries of Data. This will be a short video because it's an extension on section 2.2. If you haven't watched 2.2 yet, please go and watch that one before you watch this one. It will be easier to understand. I'm going to be using the same quantitative data set from last video to introduce the first graph we have. So let's take this data set to be the height of students in a random statistics class. The first plot we're going to go over is called stem and leaf. They're very simple to construct and they're a very simple way to display small data sets. It helps you see which value or group of I don't know, classes, could be like considered a class, has the most repetition, which value repeats the most, and so on. It's called stem and leaf because you make a vertical list of all the stems, which would be called like the main values. And then you arrange after the line, you draw a line, in increasing order, the leaves for each of your values. Let's suppose we have up to the tens. It will be our stem. And then the second decimal or the hundreds will be the leaves. For example, if we want to plot the number 1.50, we will go to the stem 1.5 and then put a 0 in there. Oh, this represents 1.50. And then for 1.37, it would be this value right here. This is 1.37. 1.63, I have to go to the stem 1.6 and then place the 3 there. If you notice, this looks like a close to a symmetrical distribution because your data is clustered in the center. And you can easily see which value repeats the most. It looks like 1.63. It's the value that repeats the most with 4 repetitions. Notice how we have each of our leaves arranged in increasing order. That's important. You don't have to do it at first, right away, but once you cluster your values, you have to arrange them from least to greatest. Okay, here's a practice for you. Construct the stem and leaf for the following set of ages. We want to use the tens unit for the stems. So in this case, the stem will be 20 or the 2, just a 2, 50, 30, 50, 20, 20, and so on. Pause this video and practice creating your stem and leaf plot for these 24 ages. Here's the answer. If you notice, for our distribution, we don't have a right skewed, left skewed. If it's hard for you to see, it doesn't allow me to it doesn't allow me to flip it over, like to rotate it. But tilt your head. Tilt your head to the right. What kind of behavior does the graph have? It looks like it's not right skewed, left skewed. It's not symmetrical. But we do have 2 peaks. The stem of the 20s and the stem of the 50s are the peaks. So this will be a bimodal distribution, not being left skewed, right skewed, or bell shaped. It will be a bimodal distribution. And it looks like the majority of our individuals here are from the ages in their 20s or in their 50s. Okay, the next plot we're going to see is a dot plot. It's constructed in the same manner that we construct the bar graphs or we construct the histograms. You just create, in this case, a line of dots depending on the repetitions. So in this example, this dot plot represents the hours spent on homework per week. Each dot represents a student. So we have one student spending 0 hours on the homework a week. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students spending 1 hour a week. This is very useful when you have a small number of individuals in your data set, just like the dot plot, and it's easy to see the behavior of our graph. It looks like this one would be right skewed, because our tail is to the right. Here's another example of a dot plot, and this one is for minutes to eat breakfast. It looks like this one will be multimodal. We have 1 peak for 0, 1 peak for 3, 1 peak for 5, 1 peak for 10. Our next type of graph, it's called like time graph series, which is a frequency polygon, but instead of having classes on the horizontal axis, you will have time. Could be days, could be hours, could be seconds, could be months, could be years, but it's constructed in the exact same form. You construct a frequency polygon. This is why I told you to go and watch the previous video. That way you have already know how to do the frequency polygon, and you can compare them. For the time graph series, it's very often seen in comparison. You have multiple variables along the same graph. That's a very common use for time graph. Now, we already have covered dot plots, we already have covered histograms, pie charts, frequency polygons, time graph. Which one was the other one? The ogives. It's very common that you can cluster them. For example, if you notice in this graph, I have a bar graph, these are time series graphs. I'm sorry, the lines are time graph series. You can construct them in the same graph. Also, it's very often that you see an ogive, the one that is cumulative frequency, and the histogram together. You can use this exact same data and represent it using multiple graphs. Multiple graphs gives you different perspectives on the same data, and it's easier for you to analyze your data or make conclusions out of it if you have multiple representations. And this is very common in dashboards. Companies have some sort of dashboard that they use for analysis or predictions of their revenue, of their, income, of their trends. Now, for this assignment, for this section, I have an assignment for you, and it's a practice assignment. I title it Statistical Analysis Unit. It's a hospital activity. We're going to apply whatever we have learned on the previous sections. Here are the instructions. For my students that are in class, you can work in groups. For the students that are online, feel free to contact a classmate, but you can work on your own, and it's optional. You may work on your own or in groups. I want you to go to Canvas, go to week number 2 from the first module, and I want you to click on the tab Practice Resources. You are going to choose one of the units from a hospital. Could be a nursery unit, pediatric, the ER, the ICU, or the OBGYN units. And you can choose either to use Google Sheets or Excel file. It's up to you. Please, once you open it, click on Make a Copy, because so far you have access to View only. And then after you get the file, I want you to construct graphs. Could be whatever graph you want to of your choice, and practice making a presentation and making predictions or drawing conclusions using this data graphical representations. So here are the instructions. Create graphs that allow you to draw conclusions about percentages, ratios on, in this case, are health metrics, high cholesterol levels, high blood pressure levels, etc. I want you to be as analytic and curious as you can be. And remember, this will help you add Excel as a skill to your resume if you don't have it yet. This will be considered our marketable skills that you're going to take out from this class. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions, and I hope you are caught up with the assignments in this class so far. Have a good day.